You don't know what ghetto style means right now. I guess I'm just going to break it down for you.
The fact that you have no idea what to say is, believe it or not, the least of our worries.
It is?
It's your delivery.
What is?
Our biggest worry.
I don't follow.
Dwight.
That was fresh.
I did it.
We did it.
I did it too.
We synchronized.
Synced it up.
Synchronized.
Wow, look at us now. Who would have guessed?
Professional.
Let me look up. Let me look up the episode number.
That's episode.
I think it's 30.
I've got-
I think it's
I've
32.
got 31 was my last one that I saved.
Yep. I had
Okay.
the same math. 32.
Okay, so this is episode 32.
Is this the intro?
All right.
This is great.
No, I was gonna give a
This
little
is
more than
nice B-roll.
that. And we're live. Episode 32. That's the intro
Made it.
that Jeremy was waiting on. We made it to the magic number, episode 32.
Jeremy, you're allowed to talk now.
And
I thought you were gonna Ric Flair it like, woo!
no, I don't do a lot of Ric
You're
Flairing.
missing out, man.
I gave
it's
that
great to
up.
drop a Ric Flair every now and then.
Hey, Ric Flair, WWE, still putting stuff together in the middle of
Yeah.
quarantine.
Is that
Do you
still
guys see
going?
Didn't they have a
Yeah.
fight this weekend?
Who?
that? I don't know if they did. I know they did WrestleMania 2
Yeah.
weekends ago.
Well, okay,
In Florida.
I guess I'm thinking UFC. But didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about that?
Mm-mm.
Dude, the UFC is crazy.
So like he's flying
Dana
flying
White.
people to remote islands apparently.
Yeah. So Dana White, he knows that he's not allowed to get any international people in to fight in the US right
Yeah.
now. And so he bought an island and he is furnishing it with all of what he needs in order to have international fighters
Yeah.
come to that island and fight during
But nobody knows
The-
where it is. Nobody knows specifics.
well, it sounds like the setup for a movie,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Weird.
Sounds like
Like-
something like that, yeah.
Sorry to
Isn't,
hijack the
there's more-
introduction.
Oh, this is a hanging out episode of Three Brothers Talking.
Isn't
So
that like
it's fine.
most episodes?
Mhm.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're always using Hangouts these days, but
We don't zoom it up.
isn't there a movie of some kind? Like, it sounds like a horror movie where you get invited to some like tournament on some remote island,
I'm sure.
and then like you get there and you find out it's
Scooby Doo
know.
or something.
yeah, sure, Scooby Doo. That's it. Anyway, the WWE did actually do WrestleMania in Florida. And so far as I know, they didn't all explode in coronavirus
Well,
after that.
they
I
didn't
think
have
they all
people, right?
survived. No, they didn't have any
Yeah.
crowds.
Have you
Yeah.
seen?
And-
Yeah, okay.
Dude, and Gronk became the champion of the WWE.
Wow.
It's impressive.
What a
Yeah.
time.
He went from Super Bowl champ to
I,
World Wrestling Entertainment champ in
just
record
like
time.
on Twitter, if you guys or like you can find probably on YouTube like random clips, but what like they're still doing all the acting and stuff that they do and like the commentary and like just because they're in empty arenas, it is absolutely hilarious to like have no
Yeah, you can't
crowd
really
reaction.
play to the crowd.
Yeah.
It's like watching a comedy these days that actually still has a laugh
Yeah.
track, where you're like shocked, like because with that you're used to actual live people being the laugh track and everything. You're used to them saying, I can't believe what this guy
Yeah.
did. You're used to the whole crowd like booing,
Yeah.
and then they just say it, and then what do they
Yeah,
pipe
I
in?
don't know what they're doing, but it's got to be so awkward to be there.
It's hard to be the heel when there's no crowd to like go against.
So the WWE can still go, but the XFL can't.
So
Hold on that,
yeah,
because
Oh.
I was gonna say
way to
the
bury
first
the lead,
thing we
Jeremy.
have to talk about. By the way, I'm David. We did an
Yeah.
intro, so I'm
I'm
David.
Andrew.
I'm Jeremy. I just spoiler alert, I
We're
guess.
still remote.
Jeremy,
We're still remote in our
We're still remote.
homes.
So
In
socially
this
distancing.
is a quarantine hangout. So
Yeah, Jeremy is our morning host today because
It's definitely sad.
his beloved XFL. You know, Andrew, it's tough times for everybody these days. You know, the new normal, right? The new normal.
The new normal.
This new normal that we're adjusting to, and that new normal is, of course, life without the XFL.
We all know that you truly care about that.
It was something we got used to having in our lives. It's been an
For 6
institution.
weeks or whatever it was.
It was fun for those 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It was fun. I will remember
You know,
it fondly.
Just so we know,
It was 6
for all
weeks-
you listeners,
6
if you
weeks
haven't
that felt
seen
like
that
6
happen,
years.
that the XFL apparently has fired most of their employees and they have no plans to return in 2021. So coronavirus killed the XFL. Yeah.
It did.
Is it a probable death?
Honestly, it might have. I think
it actually had enough headway to keep going. If this, I think it was too fast.
they were getting some crowds, but I mean, they're obviously you're counting on the end of your season being way more profitable than the beginning.
Yeah, that's where.
And then the end doesn't happen. So, like,
they
what
were
do you do?
still. I guarantee for the next 1 to 2 seasons, they were obviously projecting losses. But
Yeah.
to not finish up those last couple games that were bringing in additional momentum and then not have a championship, and the problem too was they had fully guaranteed contracts for their players.
Yeah.
That were like, they were some were making upwards of like 1.5 mil as far as some of the quarterbacks and stuff.
It's a lot of upfront.
And like they only played 6 games and they couldn't keep going. But I think this was like the perfect storm of when this hit that they couldn't, you can't sell restarting in 2021 with the wind out of their sails from not finishing up their season. And then you're behind the 8 ball even more coming next year to try to get into a profitable situation.
2022, baby.
Yeah.
XFL coming back.
They're gonna come
Who
back.
knows?
Jeremy, you're gonna have to cover up that Dallas Renegades
That tattoo I
that
got
you
last
got.
I think if somebody, I was like, it's a point of like, you have to convince investors to throw enough money at it for enough years for it, it will take time for something to become viable in that avenue. But if somebody has enough money and they want to throw it away on that for a couple of years, then
It's time for us to announce that now that they're dead, the XFL has officially become a sponsor of the Three Brothers Talking. We can say that because they're dead. They can't deny it. So on the bad news is that because they're dead, that sponsorship doesn't bring in any money.
Yep.
So if you would like to sponsor us in a way that does bring in money or other goods and services, we would accept that even more than sponsorship from a defunct football league. And you know what? If we put together our own football league in the aftermath, the AAF tried it, the XFL tried it, maybe it's time for us to
Three brothers.
put our minds
Three brothers
together.
footballing.
3BFL.
I was going to try out next year, so it's a shame.
TBFL. Jeremy was starting to work out.
I was getting back in shape.
He was bulking. Jeremy was bulking.
It's going to become, I was going to do it. I was thinking about it.
You guys have both got into the full, the dad bod thing. Do you feel like you've made the transition to dad bod? Are you emotionally okay talking about this topic?
Are you talking to me
I'm
or
already
Andrew?
way there, and I'm fine with it.
I really want to get back into working out. It's just life, man. I have another one on the way right now. Like, if any time I should have more time now. I know it's not going to get any quicker, easier. But right now, the home gym has furniture in it that we're trying to redo for the baby girl's room. So
Time will
when
be
that gets done,
there will be a very minuscule amount of time where both of your 2 under 2 are going to be sleeping.
I'm thinking like 3 a.m. I could work out at some point
Brilliant.
between feedings.
Hey, you know what? Jocko Willink would say, "Get up at 4:30."
Do it.
That's what he would say.
This is an opportunity.
It's a weird time for the podcast when I'm the one spending the most time working out. That's
Dude,
really
it's
an
been
odd.
so long since I worked out. It's so sad. I did some push-ups the other day.
There you go.
Then Mike is sat
Hey.
on me, so that
Hey, extra weight,
Yeah.
extra resistance.
I mean, you
So-
lift them up over your head. I mean, Andrew, we're doing shoulder presses all day with the infants. So
Yeah, like I'm throwing them up in the air. I'm putting them on my shoulders. Like we're doing stuff.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, he's worth a couple dumbbells.
I did
like
have
in
a
weight.
proud parent moment. So
Tell
and
us.
this goes into segue something we're going to talk about as far as quarantine activities. But I was doing yard work yesterday. I was aerating the yard, and I was
Good
listening
man.
to MXPX, and Micah, who heard it and knows I listen to that stuff all the time.
He knows. He talks about it all
He
the time.
sings it.
He sings a lot.
He's a big Mike Carrera fan.
Yeah.
If Mike Carrera wants to be on the pod, we'd be cool with that.
That would be amazing. Actually.
That and Ted Cluck might be my two.
Mm.
But he just walks up to me as I'm aerating in the yard and just starts headbanging his head, and then just like turns and walks away.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, yes,
Good man.
that kid.
Yeah. You know what's funny is now that I'm out now that I'm a homeowner, I don't have a kid, but I feel like the dad life
Not
creeping
yet.
in because I mowed our lawn for the first time last week. I also grilled at our house for the first time last week. So 2 accomplishments.
Yep,
Big deal.
That's a good week.
It's a good week.
I went and bought like expensive chicken from this really cool farm butcher shop in Canal. But anyway, I bought that, and then I was telling Rachel we're gonna grill it up, and then I realized I didn't check and see if we had propane at all,
No.
and I don't feel like going out in the middle of the quarantine and trying to get it. Thankfully, we had some.
I have 2
But I'm
if you
starting
need
to
it.
okay, Jeremy's got plenty.
Yeah.
I'm starting to obsess over like the state of our lawn. As I mow it, I'm just thinking there's so much clover. There's so many dandelions. I'm just gonna lose it if I don't get this lawn figured out, man.
So your text about chickens, by the way, I read that really quickly, and I thought your text just stopped at I bought some chickens from a farm. And I'm like, Rachel got chicken, or David and Rachel got chickens,
Yeah.
especially since Rachel had chickens.
Rachel would love it.
Faith would love it.
Rachel would
We're
love
like,
it.
Dave,
Yeah,
really
Rachel's
diving into
family.
the quarantine activities, gonna raise some
You
chickens.
And
Always have eggs.
Yeah.
Rachel's family actually is about to buy new chickens. Her parents
What happened?
are about to buy new
What
chickens.
happened to the old
So,
chickens?
The old chickens, we believe, got taken out by a raccoon.
Oh,
So
not the family.
that was pretty recent. We're still mourning their passing.
R.I.P.
Sensitive
Yeah,
subject, Jeremy. Goodness.
Sorry, I didn't know. I wasn't
Sensitive.
told that in the text.
I didn't give you an update on
Jeez,
them.
David,
but,
update us on chicken.
Rachel would love it though if we got chickens. She would be all about that. And whenever we were in an apartment, my defense was we live in an apartment. Now we have a house, and ostensibly we could find ways to have
No.
a couple.
Now you
but-
say that the township or the city won't allow it. That's like us. We can't do it.
Yeah, Rachel, I called the city.
They
you know?
say it in the
I
order.
called-
You can look it up online. I looked it up.
Governor DeWine
I don't-
specifically said.
He said that they will transmit the virus and we can't have them. So, we are all in the middle of house projects, right? I feel like everybody,
Yeah.
that's one of the ways people are leaning into the quarantine.
Yep.
I'm almost done.
Apart from just watching Tiger King, which Jeremy and I did with our wives. I don't think Andrew and Kaylee finished
We
it.
got through the first 2 episodes, and Kaylee just said she's had enough and she couldn't do anymore. I've been told by others that you just have to press on, and it does get better.
It's so
Wow.
weird.
But yeah, we have not.
Better is
well,
not the
like,
right word
more
for it.
watchable, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know if it's more
Those first
watchable.
2
It's more just
I don't know.
bizarre. It's like
not more watchable.
we were trying to explain it at work on Friday because we all watch it with Ricky and Rick, and our uncle and cousin and another guy watch it, and we are trying to.
Jeremy works for the family
I work
business.
for a family business,
Just- yeah,
and
yeah.
there's 2 older gentlemen who work with us, and they're sitting there eating lunch, and we're trying to explain it to them, and they keep going, "You gotta be making this up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not even the craziest
it's
part.
so astounding to me, though, that this has just hit at the perfect time.
Oh,
And it's just
now is the time to
Yeah,
release a
but yet,
documentary.
this happened in our lifetime. I didn't even know people like this existed.
I do remember the John Oliver part about his third party presidential campaign. I remember that, but thinking it was completely
Yeah.
stupid.
I
And
knew,
wow, this guy's
this
a crazy
completely
person.
like when I watched the first 2 episodes, that's all I've seen. I was just floored. And I'm like, I didn't even know there were these people out there. Like, and
There was
this,
one
you know,
in
this happened.
Zanesville a few years ago. They had the Zanesville.
Yeah, I remember the Zanesville thing, which they reference in the documentary.
Well,
when
we were going to
Yeah,
the
but
Wilds
like, that
the next
Zanesville
weekend.
dude was just like a crazy guy that had stuff for his enjoyment. Whereas like these
Yeah.
people,
He didn't have a zoo,
and like these people are all like just
and he didn't have a
Yeah.
cult. Like we're midway through the second episode, we're watching it, and I just lean over to Rachel and I'm like, these are cults.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're watching a documentary about cults, and then in the next episode they went into even more
Yeah.
of that, and I was like, I was
Yeah.
right.
It's
This
nuts.
is a cult. Like
We were,
it is a different world completely.
yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
one guy, like, they all say it's not a cult. And, like, Joe Exotic, like,
Oh,
no,
it's-
he said, like, this is a cult. We all have our own cults. Like, at least you recognize, like, it's nuts. We were talking the other day, Ezekiel Elliott's dad, who lives not that far from any of us. Well, Andrew, you're a little further. But he had exotic
I
pets.
don't know where he lives.
Yeah.
He lives off, like, near Busey
So,
Road
are
and
we gonna
stuff.
dox him?
Yeah.
He lives in Pickerington?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's, like, in Baltimore.
Okay.
It's, like, Amanda Northern or something like that.
So he's got tigers?
He didn't
near
have
us?
tigers. We had other exotic animals that actually did get out of the property, off his property.
Oh. Well,
That's only a few years ago.
yeah.
I think I vaguely remember that. What would you do if you saw like a lion just on the side of the
I
road?
thought about that.
That'd be
Because we have
awesome.
coyotes and stuff that run our neighborhood.
Basically the same
I
thing.
mean, I killed a snake in our backyard the other day.
Way to go.
Andrew killed a small
Yeah.
snake.
Protecting
That's
the
That's about the
basically the
homestead.
same
same
thing.
thing. I saw it.
Yeah,
I got my son and my dog out of the way, and I killed it.
Way to go, man.
That's right.
That was
You
the
did
dad
it.
status
job.
right there. Kaylee was freaking
we were
out.
all.
Was she really?
I would have been freaking out. I hate snakes,
It
man.
wasn't.
It almost doesn't matter what
Yeah,
kind.
I mean, it was a little. It was probably a little over a foot long. But yeah,
Well, we've got all the Netflix portion of quarantine squared away because it's just been Tiger
Yeah.
King nonstop. But the other things, I know that Andrew took up a project in his house in that he tried to do some home brewing,
Yeah, how's that going?
and we need an update. Like Andrew, how is that
so
going?
I am bottled. For
Way
those
to
of you
go.
that have done, Jeremy is the one who actually got me the beer kit.
That was like 3 years ago.
And I had never gotten the time to actually open it up and do it. So I did it.
Quarantine,
Yeah,
man.
quarantine let me do it.
Yeah, you can still buy that
And-
at the store, right?
So yeah, my beer prep time has been after Kaylee goes to sleep in the evenings. But yeah, we did batch 1, which was a New England IPA.
Okay.
And it came out a little hazy, but at least what I think right now. But it's bottled, and you still have to give it. So like, it's a long process. If anybody has tried to make beer, like the first run, you're really bad at it too. So it takes a couple tries. But yeah, like you have to wait for it to ferment for about 2 weeks. Then you've got to bottle it and add in your sugars to get the carbonation and bottle that. And then that takes another 2 weeks. So I've got probably about a half a week or so before I can crack open my first taste.
And then you get to the end of those 2 weeks and you're allowed out of your house
Yeah.
again.
And then it's May.
It's the perfect
But,
quarantine
yeah,
activity. It marks the entire month.
I've got a couple bottles waiting because they're getting like once I didn't realize that once you add the sugars, that's what when you bottle it with the sugars, that's what gives it the carbonation over time. But you have to let that obviously sit for a couple weeks. So yeah. Otherwise
I didn't know that.
you can have like you could drink it right now, but it would just be kind of flat beer. And that wouldn't be very good. So
I might be dumb, but I didn't know that was what gave it carbonation.
yeah.
well, we
it's,
don't want to say
it-
anything, but
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not a physicist, man. Okay, I don't know these things. Or a chemist, I guess, would be more.
we could have Three Brothers Brewing
appropriate.
next, Andrew. There you go. They're koozies. Three Brothers
Honestly,
Beer and koozies.
I love that
maybe
idea.
our next
I
recording,
love that
can.
so much.
I don't know.
But we can't
I don't
sell
know
it.
if I'll
You
ever
can't sell it.
I don't know if we'll ever meet up prior to the next recording, but maybe we can do a sampling or something.
We may never meet up
Dude,
again.
we can figure out a way to drop it off or something.
We
or-
could throw it 6
Yeah.
feet to each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
We just drive by each other and we just stop our cars for a second.
I
You
throw
drop
it in
it,
the
we
window.
take it, and there we go. Yeah. No big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah. that's actually something I'd like to try a lot because it seems like a hobby. Like that could be a pretty cool hobby, although it's pretty time intensive.
Yeah, I mean, at least when you're not good at it in the beginning, like I was getting kind of frustrated that like, just trying to siphon and like all that, like it's time consuming. Just to get
my old boss did it, Steve. He like had like an agitator system and everything. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like a washing machine.
Yeah, we actually made like a
did
switch to like
machine.
stir it different ways. Like eventually, like he did it for a year. So
Man.
You could get
He
in.
was
There's
legit.
some good setups that you can find where like you can get some efficiency. But yeah, when you're just doing it in your kitchen, like for your first time, it's a mess.
yeah,
In your
Yeah.
bathtub.
just like a good old moonshine range.
Yeah.
It's just like a good old moonshiner. Rachel and I, speaking of stepping into new ground during a quarantine, is that Rachel cut my hair for the first time.
Whoa.
So we crossed that bridge of togetherness as a couple because you're not allowed to get a haircut these days.
People get too close. You can't do that 6 feet away.
You can't. Unfortunately, they could tape like a clipper to a
Probably
pole,
wouldn't turn out too well.
like a 6-foot pole.
That fade's
No.
gonna be lacking. Or you're cutting
Yeah,
your ear
the
off.
tight fade. The tight fade is going to be pretty tough. But we got that done, and we didn't have any significant fights. So I think that we broke through a milestone.
Faith did mine.
Yeah, we
There you
borrowed
go.
clippers also to probably do here in like the next week, probably do mine and probably give our Lincoln.
Were you gonna say the boy?
Oh, boy.
Were you gonna say the boy?
He was about to say the
He
I
was
was
boy.
gonna
gonna say the boy.
But we're gonna probably just buzz him because he's getting real long too. So
Lincoln's got long hair,
Yeah.
man.
It's got that long comb
Man.
over going too,
Yeah.
man.
That's going to be interesting. You trying to give a 1-year-old a haircut.
Yeah,
we'll
he
see.
is.
Maybe I was like, maybe we'll try to get some video of that or something because like that could be good.
I don't think you want a video. That might be like torture or something.
That,
It might look
at
a little bit
least
like
when
torture.
He's gotten 2 haircuts, and as long as we got a show for him to watch, and he's got something to distract him, like he didn't care at all. So
Tiger
yeah.
King.
We'll just
Tiger
put on
King.
Tiger King. He'll be
They'll
good.
be glued to the TV.
Yeah. I would not recommend showing
Exactly.
Tiger King to any 1-year-olds out there, just so you know.
Definitely
Yeah.
don't.
It was questionable even for me and Kaylee, so yeah.
It's like we said, it's a completely different world, and it's not a world that you want to be a part
That's
of.
so crazy.
It's
But we
Yeah,
got our,
but anyway,
we
back to
also-
home
other
projects.
project. We got our the nursery phase 1 is complete as well. So we're had to repaint and all that. So
Ours is not. We had our carpet guys move our date back because it was a Tuesday of the stay-at-home order, like when the first one. So they rescheduled
Yeah.
for like May 5th. So
oh,
I don't even know when May is anymore.
Yes.
Is it still
Probably
coming?
2021 at this
there
point.
already?
Did they cancel
Yeah.
May? Do we still get to
Well, I
have
thought
it?
we
No.
already made it there. No, okay.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows anymore?
I mean,
See, like the spring is my favorite time of year because you get out of the winter and you get out of like the depressing darkness and all that. And then this spring comes around and everything I love about the spring, like baseball and spring training and, go like hanging out and all this stuff. It's like, boom,
Well,
you're
Dave,
done.
what do
You
you-
don't
what do
actually
you
get
think?
to do it.
I heard they got plans to bring potentially
Do it.
baseball back, just out in
Yes.
Arizona, right?
I would love it. Rachel and I had a trip planned for Arizona. Actually,
Yeah, you could
I
have.
think whenever you hear this episode, I think we were supposed to be on our trip. Our flights got canceled because probably because
probably weren't
a
profitable
bunch of
anymore.
other
yeah.
a bunch of other people canceled probably, so they canceled the flight. And they rebooked us on like, hey, you can still go if you take like 2 stops to get there.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, it's not going to happen. So
could have
we
drove.
didn't
Dave.
lose any money. We'll go sometime in the fall.
Did they
Hopefully
actually
see
give
the
you
Grand
money
Canyon.
back or
Drove.
just a credit towards like?
We get the credit for a whole
Okay.
year. Yeah. So,
As long as
Yeah,
COVID's gone
so-
by this time next year, you're fine.
Well,
I think it'll be just
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
I think probably by May, but
Be able to go outside again in peace,
we'll be able to see
or
outside.
at
We'll be able
least
to see Grand
like
Canyon.
go to the store.
see
I'm just trying to
people-
be able to go to the store without like people like acting like you're going.
Well, I am hopeful, to get back to Andrew's question, I am hopeful that that baseball actually does like a spring training part 2 in Arizona. But also to get back to what Jeremy just said, I'm curious if like people are going to go, at least here in Ohio, it looks like May 1st will be the day when life
Goes back.
in a lot of ways will return to normal.
Somewhat, yeah.
And I'm curious if people are going to be like, May 1st, I can take my mask off and go to the store.
Yeah.
Or if people are just going to be, if it's going to be like we're in China all of a sudden where people just wear masks now and you're just looking at them like, hey, you know, you made it 45 years without a mask. Like, you're okay. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It definitely will be interesting to see if any behaviors that we like, any behavior
Like washing
does
your hands
change,
regularly.
going forward out of all this.
Yeah.
I've been taking more moisturizer to work. Like my hands, like the first day, like the first week, my hands were cracking so much. I gotta put some. Yeah, so I'm like basically because you're washing them all the time, like you know.
Jeremy's never washed his hands before.
I did. It's not as often as I do now.
There was a hilarious meme that I saw shared that was like when it was somebody like when you wash your hands, obviously, or your hands are in water, they get all shriveled up, you know. And somebody was holding out his hands, and it says, "When the CDC recommends you wash your hands for the length of a song, but all you listen to is Bethel music." And it was like this guy's hands were completely jacked up.
That's because there was some spontaneous worship in there.
Are they
there
still
was some
having church out there?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're rebuking the sickness.
I figured they would be, honestly.
I don't know. Who knows? They probably aren't. I mean,
I assume they're not.
Yeah.
I don't know many churches that
just
still
really
are.
funny because I'm like, yeah, they're all 8 and 9 minutes long.
Yeah. Well, they were supposed to be 4 minutes, but then
The chorus.
they become 9 minutes. Yeah, the bridge needed to be repeated again. But, I mean, other things like the coronavirus is really good for me actually getting things done at my house. So,
Not me.
you know, we actually got a bathroom painted that was, you know, that's like 6 months in the making that we got painted. So I'm all right with that. I got my garage like figured out, cleaned up so that everything fits in it well. I'm accomplishing everything.
There you go.
Man,
these days.
Way to go. We haven't. I still have to do I have to do the stall in our bathroom, the shower. We're replacing that.
You accomplished things.
Yeah.
You accomplished fixing your sunroom and everything.
Yeah, but see, that was already scheduled to get done. And regardless of the coronavirus thing. But so basically the big project has been delayed because of the coronavirus. Like we're going to redo the stall, the shower stall in our bathroom because the one they never replaced it before. But I'm like, I'm not going to start this project until I can get a second pair of hands who've done it before over to the house to help. And also the stores aren't closing at 6 p.m. in case there's an emergency later on at night.
Yeah, you don't want it to be 6:30.
You open up
and then you break.
Yeah, it's like working on your car and you're like, oh no, I need this one bolt. Well, they're closed.
I gotta wait till 9 tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's basically where that is. And I had plenty of time to do that. Basically before the baby's born, I want it done.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that, like the yards where I want to get it all ready and nice, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate that in these quarantine episodes, this has really become what this podcast always was, which was an excuse for us to talk to each other. And at this point, we're just 3 old guys talking about house projects. And
exactly what we wanted. This is what actually we wanted the whole podcast to be from the get-go.
We might transition into this, you know? I mean, we'll see. Well, look at I'm maybe afraid to look at the stats. Maybe our stats are way up because people are so bored right now. They,
Gotta listen to something.
Subscribe,
gotta listen
share.
to something.
Well,
I mean, maybe.
And in that spirit,
have you
subscribe and share.
Listened to any of like Joe Rogan's podcasts?
I haven't listened to that in a while. Is he still doing them during all this?
He just gets on with somebody and they just talk for like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, they do talk for a long time. I don't check in every time, but every once in a while I'll catch it up.
Nobody could sit down and listen to that.
I recommend the fancy YouTube channel JRE Clips, where they just put up the parts that are important.
or like,
Oh, no,
or they
that sounds
actually
good.
identify what subject he's talking about, because otherwise
Yeah.
he's gonna be talking about like 9 different things.
It's like heading into a fun house full of mirrors,
Yeah.
Jeremy. Just clicking on the title and you're just like, I have no idea what I'm gonna get. This is gonna be incredible.
Speaking of podcasts,
Well-
Andrew, did you hear that they had David? I already talked to David about this a little bit today, but Ron Paul on the Cross Politic podcast. It was
Great.
It was a great episode.
Oh,
A++.
It was great.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
'Cause it's good. Ron
Two-
Paul.
Two of my worlds colliding. Yes. I was a fan of that. The other thing that I'm going to transition into recos because we're going to double record
Mhm.
here. And the reco that I would give is I'm holding it up here, although Jeremy and Andrew won't be able to recognize what it is. London Baptist Confession of Faith of 1689. You've got nothing to do right now, and maybe you've never read the Confession. You've never read either London Baptist Confession or Westminster Confession. Read through them. They're like 30 they're called chapters, but it's really just like 30 like I don't know. It's short. It's easy to read. And if you've got nothing else to do and you're not a big reader, like you don't feel like sitting down and reading tons and tons of hours, I'd recommend either one of those things.
You
and
can
even
split
if you
that up pretty well too.
yeah, read like a paragraph a day or a chapter a day and just kind of mull it over and even go through it devotionally and like think about applying the truth of that chapter to your heart and your life. And it'll give you it gives you at least a lot of the ways. It gives you a full system of what you believe and everything. So that was just a recommendation I thought of because I know us and some other guys are going through a class on the Westminster. And if you've never read either of these two really important confessions of faith and you want to learn some more theology and you also want to see where it comes from in the Bible, I highly recommend it. If you look up London Baptist Confession of Faith in modern English, you can find stuff from Founders Press. You can find free stuff on the internet, or you can buy a really cheap book in case you want to read it in modern English instead of like the super, super old English. But
That's how I talk normally, David. I don't know what you're talking about. I talk like that normally. I don't even mean
you talk
old
like that
English.
all the time. I highly recommend it. Not only is it the official confession of faith of this podcast, if we have one, but it's also good.
Oh,
So-
we could say our podcast is confessional, Dave.
I would say my
We
reco
can say
too
that,
would be
yeah.
make sure. I mean, pretty much everybody now, all of us, the church that we go to, like they're obviously putting out their lessons and the sermons and the full service kind of what's it called, electronically or streaming it. And that's where pretty much any church you go to is likely to do that too. I would say. But I would say the important part of that is like it's very easy just to kind of like even if you're gonna take the time to listen to a sermon, just to do it as you have a time on your own versus actually sitting down as a household and still going through whatever church you're going to together as a, like making it as much of a service as you can and try to still somewhat replicate that sense of community, even in your own household. I know today, like it was Easter Sunday, and we celebrated, but yet because then when you're leading through the prayers from your service, or if hopefully you're doing that, if you're worshiping in your household and stuff, you can still kind of do that somewhat together. Versus now, it's very easy to be like, hey, I'm going to listen to this sermon. I'm going to listen to the sermon while I'm doing work or something in passing. And then maybe Kaylee, who's busy with Lincoln or whatever, doesn't get to listen to it that week or something. But
yeah, we always, we did it. Not today. Well, even today we did it when Micah took a nap, and that was helpful to both of us. Even though it was like, okay, there's other things we could be doing, especially during nap time. That's when you capitalize on stuff.
But there is still ways to
making
do
the priority
church together is important. Yeah.
I was thinking today we should do an ep on things we miss about going to church during this whole time. Might be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was just thinking about how today, I don't know, I could say what I missed, but it was communion was man, it'd be fun didn't think about it, especially because we didn't do it a ton like growing up. But think about it more and more, being like, man, like,
yeah, you miss out on not being able to do that with the whole church. Yeah.
I agree, and you're making it as normal, like making the priority even when it feels like you can kind of do it whenever you want to do it. Which is great on one hand. It's like, okay, we can time it so whenever no one else, like when we can actually both devote time to this.
Yeah.
But still sitting down and doing it. And then also something I've tried to get better at and I'm not still great at is talking about it afterward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's something to prioritize. And I need to do a better job of that.
When will we ever have more time to disciple our families? And part of that discipling of our families is, and we have to disciple ourselves in this too, right? Because it's just as easy for us to like sit down and still like, since we're watching it on TV, like just take out our phone and, check our email. It's easy to do that when you're in a service, to check your email or your Twitter or whatever, which is sad, but it's true. It's even more tempting when you're sitting there and you're just watching it on TV. So, but actually sitting down and saying like, look, as best as we can, we're going to act like we're actually, because we are still worshiping God. Yeah. So like, let's act like we are still doing that. And singing in your house. And I know that's super weird for a lot of people because you don't have like the rest of the room singing. And so you feel like you stick out and it's awkward, but just do it, man. Like, and especially if you've got kids, like show them that it's worth it to keep singing, even though it's a little awkward. But yeah, I keep thinking like, when are we ever going to have more time to talk about the sermon with our family or to read a Bible passage and pray together? When are we ever going to have more time to do that with our family than
like
right now?
Life has slowed down to give you that to give you that freedom.
Yep. So those are two good recommendations. Good job, everybody.
Good job.
We successfully talked about our hobbies, so that's good. But we are gonna I think that's all for this episode. I think we did a good job.
Yep, think we
did all right. Yeah. Like, share, and subscribe. I don't know where you would like it because we only post the links to the episode like every other time because I'm bad about posting it. But share and subscribe is good. And give us feedback about how you're handling the quarantine and as we talk about things, if you want to hear more of something or less of something, give us feedback, give us reviews wherever you post reviews and let us know. So with that, we will sign off and we will see you guys maybe inside of our houses, maybe outside of our houses.
Maybe in person with each other.
Maybe in person. We will see you guys next time.